Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Dork Publishing, expanding minds through fantasy since 2018. Learn more at the Dork Publishing website, www.dorcpublishing.com.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days, and I am your host, Kathy Blaze. And today I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Klor Rowland. Come on out.
Hey,
there.
how you doing?
Good. Long time no see.
Been too long. Thanks for having me.
Oh, such a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Such a pleasure. I had to get you in here and talk about what's been going on with Mr. Klor.
Yeah.
So I tell you, I can't even remember the last time I saw you. I know we were on the film set, but it's been years.
It has.
It's been years. But you know what? I want to get to what you've been up to, but we're gonna go back a little bit and talk about how this all started of being an actor in the Arizona film community. How did that start for you?
Well, for me, it may be a little different. So my wife likes the Lifetime movies, and I call them Disease of the Week movies, but because someone always has a disease, right? So she's watching this. I'm coming into the room where she's watching it, and I'm like making fun of the actors, and she says, if you think you could do better, then go do it. And I said, well, I will. So I did.
That's something we would say to you.
That's right. Strong women, right? That's what I'm talking about. So my wife, I would have to say, is my inspiration for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from there, I started out doing stand-up comedy. And that's really about connecting with the audience,
Right.
a live audience. It could be 6 people, it could be 600. Biggest place I've ever played was Scottsdale Theater for the Arts.
Okay.
So that was a pretty big room, kind of intimidating.
Right.
Did improv comedy, and worked with a troupe, the Jesters, in Mesa. And
But okay, you did, your wife inspired you to get into acting. What was it that got you into stand-up? Did you always want to do comedy, or were you always that?
I've been a smart
clown?
aleck. Yeah. I grew up in Inglewood, California, and I use my humor as a defense mechanism. To really keep from connecting with people. I would use my humor maybe as a defense. Because people aren't going to get on your case if you're making them laugh.
So were you making fun of yourself?
Mostly, self-deprecating humor. It's the low-lying fruit, but that's what I knew at the time. So.
Do you still do stand-up?
Not anymore. I respect people that do stand-up. That's an amazing skill and craft to perfect. I like working with other folks. I like the interaction. I like acting now.
Yes, yeah. You know what? Speaking about the self-deprecation and talking about yourself, you have grown a lot since I've known you. I mean, you've played some very strong roles for someone that came from that point where you felt that you needed to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So I've seen you play the soldier. I mean, the husband. I mean, I've seen you play some strong roles. How did you get to that point?
Well, I think it was really just accepting that there's strength in being vulnerable. All right. So to me, when I'm working with another actor, my whole job, my whole focus is to make them look fantastic.
Right.
So if you have that trust, then you can be vulnerable, and you don't have to rely on humor as a crutch. I think comedic films are probably some of the toughest films to make, because each take has to look fresh, has to be spontaneous.
And come across natural too.
Right.
Yeah.
Unrehearsed.
Not unrehearsed and forced.
Right.
Yes. And that's why you find a lot of actors, they go straight to dramatic type roles because they don't feel, first off, they may not feel that they're funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you know what? That's a good question for you. How do you know that you're funny?
If people are laughing with me and not at me,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's several reasons why people laugh in the first place. One is to shock or awe
Mm-hmm.
people. One is people laugh because they're uncomfortable.
Right.
People laugh at you because of your misfortune.
Mm.
And then because you're genuinely funny. And to me, what a joke is a story that you can relate to, but it
Right.
has an unexpected ending. So there's the, oh, I know about this, I know about this, and then I don't know about that.
Mm.
That's the funny, that's the
Right.
punchline, you know?
Right. And you know what? Being a comedian, that's a job that takes a lot of heart, I think,
Mm,
because you're sitting there, you're being judged the whole time. Well, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? Are they going to talk about me? Are they going to do this? Or, but you're there to tell a story for the audience.
yeah,
So you're not there to hurt anyone, but sometimes it comes across that someone gets hurt because they're internalizing what that comedian may be
sure,
saying because they may have experienced that.
yeah.
So, as a stand up and as an actor, do you, okay, one on one with another actor, do you make sure that you're feeding them so that they're not internalizing, or you want them to internalize it?
Whatever they want. Because I think people work differently. Some people don't like to be talked to off set or in between takes
Mm-hmm.
because they're in character and they have a certain thing they're trying to change about the character, which may make the film work better. So
Right.
I'll talk about that maybe in rehearsal or table reads or once we've got it down to the final cast.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, I'll maybe talk to the director or the assistant director about what my process is and what kind of my thoughts are because this is shocking for some people, but not everyone cares what I think. They've got their
You
own
sure about
ideas. I've heard tell. Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Well, boo to them.
Boo to them. Boo, I say to thee. Yes.
So, Clor, I want to use the role as in the soldier you played.
Okay.
Okay, are you a veteran?
I am not a veteran.
Okay,
No.
so to take on a role like that, what do you do to get into that role, to become that person?
I kind of think maybe what led that person to be part of the military, right? Was it a family of military service? Was it merely an inspiration to serve the country? Maybe it was the best thing he could do for
Mm,
himself and his family.
mm,
So I kind of look at the script
right.
and maybe channel that through my own eyes
Right.
and try to
Because
focus.
if I remember right, there was some deep things going on with that
Yes.
character. I don't know if it was some abuse or there was something that was going on with that character. So that's putting yourself into a deeper mode
Oh yeah.
of internalizing all that stuff that that
Sure.
character is feeling, because you can't go there and be that person and not feel what he's feeling.
Right.
So that takes a lot of preparation. That's why when people think of actors, they think, oh, they just get up there and they just perform. It takes so much more than just getting up in front of that camera and performing.
It can. But then there's some people you're like, wow, right? You're like, how'd you just walk on, nail it, blow everybody's socks off, so to
And
speak?
even with that, the ones that walk out there nailed, I still believe that there's still a lot.
Internal preparation,
Yes, there's
sure,
some internal preparation and getting to know that
sure,
character itself.
absolutely.
Okay, that is awesome. And playing the soldier, playing the husband, is there a role out there that's your dream role?
Okay, the dream role I want to play is a 1950s gangster.
Okay, I can see
Yeah,
that.
that's what and I want him to like own a wrecking yard because he's like on the down low kind of. He makes all the money, makes all the things happen. I got the
Ah,
character, but I just haven't seen the script yet. You
okay.
know,
Well, maybe you're the one to write that script.
maybe that could be
Is that something you
I do right. Yeah.
you do right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're the person for that job.
There it is. Write my own ideal script.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Take charge.
Yes, and that way you get everything the way you want it.
I think so.
Because you know, a lot of times we're working according to someone else's dream or the way they see things.
True.
Yeah.
Here's what I've noticed about film is that there's 3 movies each time you make one. There's the one that was written, there's the one that was shot, and then there's what you end up with, right? You're like,
that's true.
looking at the script,
That's
looking
from
at the
my,
end product, like,
What
wow.
happened there? Love it, love it. So, Mr. Klor, I love saying Mr. Klor.
Mr. Very authoritarian, yes. Mr. Klor.
Puts me in my place here. No. No, I'm the strong woman here.
That's
You don't
right.
put me in my place.
Your show.
So, Clark, like I was saying earlier, I haven't seen you in quite a while. So, what's new with you?
What's new is I've been working with John Kessner. He's Arizona. He's from Ohio, but he's now lives here in Arizona. He's a writer, director, great guy. And I've worked. This will be the upcoming 3rd project. Well, okay. So we did a film about 4 years ago, and then he wrote some more scripts.
Okay.
And we just shot Beverly Ever After, which is a sci-fi time travel kind of comedic sci-fi film, which is hilarious. It sounds like a lot of different aspects to put into a short film, but this film knows who it is.
Okay.
So that's good. And he's going to go festivals with that. He likes, shopping it around. Kind of a proof of concept, even.
Okay. We did have John on the show in season 1.
Yes, excellent.
Yes, so that was really awesome to get to know a little bit about him and what he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've done those 3 films. So we talked about your dream role.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give? I like to ask these questions when I get mature people sitting on my couch.
Men of substance.
Yes. What advice would you give to an actor in your age range that thinks, a lot of times people think I'm too old to do that or I'm too busy to do this. What advice would you give them for they really want to become an actor?
They have the passion for it, right? So there's, the cliches about Grandma Moses being so old when she first started painting and, discovering what it is that she lives for. But I think if you find that one thing that makes your heart sing, I say you listen to that music and you follow it,
I love
that. It could start from anywhere, but just don't stop the journey till you're ready to stop the journey.
Right. Where do you see yourself in about 5 years?
5 years older, more than likely. I see myself really just maybe exploring more on the producing side or the directing side or the filmmaking side. As I get older, making those dreams real. Yeah.
And hopefully making the dreams real for upcoming actors and producers and people that want to get started. Because I feel like for those of us that's been doing this for so long, we should be mentors and help another person get to the level where they want to get.
Absolutely,
or at least get started. Being in this industry for so long as you have been, what are one of the major changes that you've seen in the Arizona industry that you're proud to say that you've seen it happen?
Well, that I'm proud to see happen, I think, is the amount of content that we're producing and the quality of content that we're producing for internet release.
Yes.
I remember when it first started out here in the Valley, everyone had a web series they were going to make. You may shoot it.
Right.
They may edit it, but it didn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
And
there was a lot of that happening, wasn't it? Yes.
Yes, there was.
Or you had all the multitude of horror flicks out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You see pictures of gory faces, but you never saw premieres or you never saw them being submitted to festivals it's nice to see that change.
Kathy, I think the thing that's really not addressed enough is the work that goes into making even short films. If people knew how much work goes into even making a production,
Right.
they would be surprised that any films, any projects get completed at all.
Right.
It's amazing. There's still some great quality work out there on the
Mm.
shelf, so to
Oh,
speak.
of course.
Yeah.
That is true. And do you remember the days? I remember the time when there was, it seemed like every weekend there was a 48-hour challenge.
Yeah.
And you
That's what
wonder,
made me so old.
I know, rushing around up all night trying to get things done.
Yeah.
I mean, we did all those things. And what do you feel that you gained for, say, being a part of that process?
Well, there's no doubt that I think it's a connection with the other like-minded, like-spirited people in the community. You know, because I think being an actor is kind of an odd thing because you really, at the core, want to consume another person's persona and
Right.
portray it to someone else to see.
Yes.
And then you find out there are other people that have that same talent and dream, and then you connect with them, and it seems like, well, like us, still connected. It seems like yesterday, and it's been years. So I think that's the beauty of it. That's what I gained from those experiences.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, you think about, where did I meet this person 20 years ago? I mean, it's amazing to say that. I mean, 20 years ago doesn't seem that far away.
No.
I mean, it seemed like just yesterday that we may have worked on a film set, or we may have completed this film challenge and know everything that took place that day.
Yeah, and this is what I call the Hollywood lie. Is when you're working on a project with somebody, and the relationship is artificial because you're in a closed environment, and you're like, you feel you're so close and you bonded so much with this person,
Right.
and you say, we've got to stay in touch, and the other person says, oh, you know, we will, we will, we will. You never see him again, right? That's the Hollywood lie. And you're like, you miss them, but they moved on.
That is true. That is true. And you know, but I'm blessed to say that I've had so many people that I've told that so-called Hollywood lie to, and there's so many people that I did stay in contact with.
Yeah.
And I think social media helps us to be able to stay in contact with those people, especially those of us that aren't afraid of social media.
That's right. Here's what I got. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I can say that this industry has blessed me with a huge family of people in the film acting community.
Absolutely.
You being one of those people.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
Yes. So, any new projects coming up?
Well, another John Kessner feature with it's a creature feature short film, and it's called Beaver Holler Monster. And in that,
John, that sounds kind of. Look, I'm not even gonna say.
What could that be about?
Right.
It's kind of like the skunk ape or the Bigfoot or the dog man. You know, that kind of, they call them exo creatures. You know, and I play the archaeologist, and I play the scientist that does all the research on it. But I'm really kind of an emo goth scientist, which is kind of fun. I might even grow a beard for that. Who knows?
Do something different.
Yeah.
It sounds fun. It really does. Do you find that that nowadays people are working with, I don't call it stable, stable of actors that they're familiar with and comfortable. Yeah.
Sorry.
And comfortable with. You find that people doing more of that now. Let's say if you've worked with John on 3 films so far, so he would go to you, hey, Klor, I have this film coming up, before he'd cast for it. He works with pretty much people that he knows. Do you see that that's happening a lot in different productions?
I think it just happens in the business world regardless. You love working with people you can trust.
Right.
Right? And
that's the key word, is trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
People aren't going to leave you in a lurch. They're going to tell you the straight, even if it's hard to hear. They're going to tell you what the truth is.
Right.
And then you can make informed decisions from that. But
and you know that person's ticks and what they can do, their strengths and their weaknesses, and how they're going to be beneficial to that project.
Absolutely.
Also.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So where can our audience find you?
Well, right now, I'm still waiting for the editing to be completed on Beverly Ever After, and we're going
Okay.
to start production on the Beaver Holler Monster, and then that'll probably be in September. So I think the online film festivals and the festivals that I can announce on Facebook when those come up. Yeah.
Okay. And the Beverly Ever After, just to let our audience know, that was, I mean, you know, Klor is an Arizona actor. I mean, we're not just Arizona actors. We'll go
Right.
wherever the project wants us.
Yeah.
But that film was filmed in Hawaii, correct?
No, that was
No, that was a
Kimberly's
different.
film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one was filmed here locally in a lot of different places, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What's one last strong tip you would give to an aspiring actor?
Um, Take classes.
Mm,
Take as many classes as you can from reputable acting coaches.
yes.
That will save a lot of grief and heartache and time in your career.
And money.
And money, absolutely.
Thank
Don't pay for a gig or $3 million for a headshot. You know.
Right. Thank you for joining us. It was such a pleasure to
Thank you
have
so
here
much,
today.
Kathy. Yes, absolutely.
And thank you for joining us here today at Desertwood Days, and we'll catch you next time.